I think I got a very good framework of what we learned today, but it's more like, to me, a little bit cognitive, because a lot of information flowing in, and I've tried to follow the reflective exercise, but it was a little bit difficult to me to come up with insights in a very short time frame. So I really want to do it on my own, but I just want to get more support from Robin on what I can do on my own, or turn it into what you said, into experiential learning that I can do for myself. Thanks.
Thank you for your question. That is quite true. Each time that I share this reflective process, it doesn't mean that you will necessarily come up with insights straight away about yourself and how your past has, the important ways in which your past has impacted you. You do, but keep the information, and it will be, you go deeper into a reflective process when you set up an environment for yourself that is very, very conducive for that. Right now, you might be paying attention to many things, and the way of absorbing when there's a lot of information coming through is that we're in our heads, and understandably so. But when you have a chance, and when you're alone, and you don't necessarily need a lot of time, more time of course is better, but we don't often have that. So go through those steps again. I do a lot of this inner child journey kind of work with my clients. I have been doing so for about 30 years, and I also use it for myself in terms of how I supervise my own quality of interaction, both as a father and as a psychologist, psychotherapist, and as a workshop leader, etc. A good starting point is when you feel triggered, when there is let's say, for example, a child in one of your classes that there's a repeated ongoing challenge that you experience with that child. You might feel irritated towards that child, frustrated towards that child. You might feel sometimes helpless, not knowing how to help that child, or deeply worried or frightened for that child. Whatever that is, that's the starting point for you to do a reflective inner child journey about yourself. Because going back into your own childhood experience, first of all, you descend from the head, you're listening to the feelings that are there in your body, your heart, your gut, okay? That gives you such valuable information. Insights flow from the body up. You need a holding space where you feel safe, protected from interruptions. Bring your attention down into your body. Allow that experience of feeling triggered and the emotions that brings up for you. Allow that to carry you back. You can ask, when have I felt this way before as a child? Or you could ask, that part of me that's most similar to the child in my class that I have some challenges with, how was that part of me treated when I was a child? And how did that feel? Remember, give that time. Ask, how did that feel for me? That's where the insights will come. You get the deepest aha when you can dip into your emotional state. How did I feel when this was going on for me as a child? And then what did I need to be different for me? What would have made the situation happy for me? What would have taken away my pain or my struggle? Give time for your mind to produce a fantasy, an image, because now you have words for your own need as a child. This will not, I never say that this will resolve all of your issues. It doesn't. This is one of many tools, but it's a very, very important tool. And I speak about this tool because it's the one that is most absent. It's missing from the wonderful toolbox that teachers are given. So it adds the potential, not always, but it adds the potential for new, invaluable ahas, insights into, you know, when I was this vulnerable as a child or acting out like this kid in my class does, what I really needed was A, B, C, and D. What if that's what the kid in my class needs? Let's see. Let's see. So give this time, listen to the body.
就最觸發我嘅一樣嘢就係咧，除咗要欣賞學生嘅成功，仲要唔好忘記欣賞學生願意面對失敗。呢個用分數嚟評估學生嘅環境之下，點樣可以處理得更好咧？
Mandy, thank you so much for your question. And I want to share with you that I feel very, very triggered by that too. Sometimes I feel angry about it. Often I feel very worried about it. I'm very concerned with what I see is the negative impact of the hierarchy that we have built around the world, where top marks is good, low marks is bad, and just how seriously it inhibits the child's willingness to be brave and explore and take risks in their learning journey, and fail beautifully, fail publicly, and then sit and just unpack the failure and say, what will I learn from this courageous failure? Kids can't do that when they're repeatedly, methodically, and systematically told that one is better than you, or you're better than that one. And in that kind of context, praise can be just as toxic as the lack of it. So I really recognize, Mandy, that in an educational environment that is dictated very strongly by departmental rules and regulations and directives from the top down, in which teachers that would, most teachers I meet all around the world would love to be able to be more playful and more interested in the children's process, and that the freedom to be so is removed by having to meet universalized kind of standards. So I do recognize, Mandy, that the possibilities are kind of narrowed for you in the inside of that prescribed situation in which you are expected to mark and grade and compare and rank and all of those things. However, that does not disempower you completely by a very, very long shot, because you still have enormous freedom in the quality of your speaking, in the way that you deliver the marks that are imposed on you to deliver. What you personally say to that child, the questions that you ask that child, you have a lot more freedom in that than perhaps you realize. If the government says that I must give you a 5 out of 10 and you've lost 5 marks, I still have freedom in the way that I deliver that to you. I can actually, if I care enough, if I really recall what it did to me to be graded and compared, and what shame did to my capacity to learn and be passionate in my learning and brave in my learning, how inhibited I got. If I remember that, that's useful, because now I'm very motivated to bring in the new, very, very, very determined to bring in the new. And, you know, one example of how I can do that is, listen, my friend, I've got to give you a 5 out of 10. That's what's expected. That's the kind of the system. But you know, hey, I'm interested in how you lost those 5 marks. And that was, you tell me how you came to the conclusions that you came, because that's interesting. You and I will learn something from that. Okay. I know there's wrong answers. 2 + 2 will never equal 5. But how did you come to your conclusion, my friend? Because your pathway has something of value in it, even if it gives you a so-called wrong answer. Can you see? Look, I'm just trying to give you examples of the conversations that we hold can be very, very different. You know, we still have room for that. And I want to say this: never underestimate how creative and inventive you can become when you connect deeply with yourself and your own emotion and your history. Okay, somebody can put you in a box or in a jail. You will use that differently to everybody else. Once you connect, I'm always impressed with, like, when we heal our own emotional state and we attend to our own emotional state and we really take ownership for our triggers and listen to our inner child, after validating ourselves on that level, there is a phenomenon whereby new voices in our minds, new ideas are released that had been closed inside a cupboard. You still have room, despite all of the strictures that come from above. You still have room, Mandy, to connect in your way, to listen in your way. If you have 1 second with a child, your face can say things to that child that are very, very powerful in that 1 little second that you've been given. You're amazing. The fact that you're a teacher, I have enormous respect. If you survived being in front of classrooms, what an incredible job that is. I couldn't do it. I'm not a teacher. I work with 1 or 2 people at a time. So bravo to all of you. I really, really, you guys should be getting paid twice as much. Oh my goodness. Thank you for your question.